Hello YouTube, Alpha Gamer here. Just wanted to do a quick review of a private Burning Crusade server called Excalibur.
I'm your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
Well, how'd you become king then?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king.
What in the hell was that? Anyways, one of the nice things about this server, I've got to say so far, is latency. It's pretty smooth. I hardly have that many connection issues. So far, the server's pretty good. I live on the west coast of America, so it's really nice and important to me that, you know, when I play on a server, I don't have like 400 latency, which some of the servers I've played on, you have horrible latency, and it just kind of ruins the game when you can't cast spells. One of the nice things is I'm sitting at about 169 latency right now, and I'm on the west coast of America, so that's pretty huge because I've played on some of the private servers, and I know one of the big problems that you run into is having 400, 500, 600 latency, because most of these private servers are located over in Europe. This one's no different, it's over in Sweden, but they must be in an area where they have a really good internet connection or something, because I've really rarely had it above 200. It's pretty steady, pretty stable too. It's pretty dang nice, honestly. One thing kind of worried me when I first joined this server was the voting system, the way the voting system is set up. You can vote up to 2 times a day, once every 12 hours, and you can get some novelty items, mounts, bags, tabards, stuff like that, but typically most people use it to vote for gold. And that kind of worried me, but once I voted a couple times and got a little bit of gold out of it, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of nice, because one of the problems you run into on a private server is there's some stuff to buy, but nobody can afford it. I mean, where do you go? Linen cloth hardly ever sells on any of these servers. By the time you get into wool cloth, you're going to make a little bit of money, but not if nobody's buying it. It actually does create a pretty healthy auction house system, so that's actually really nice. The downside to that is it does slightly inflate the auction house, but I'll get into that here in a bit when we get into the cons. Scripting is really good. That's another positive about this server. I'd say 95% of the content works. There are some weird bugs that you'll come across every now and then. Like, see, there's one right there. I suddenly just kind of vanished out of ghost form, you know, and now I'm running around the graveyard in ghost form or in spirit form. So, I mean, there's some weird little bugs and stuff, but I think all these private servers kind of tend to have those. Overall, I think the only boss fight that doesn't work is Illidan, and I mean that's disappointing. But you know, again, on some of the private servers I played on, yeah, 20 or so boss fights just don't work, or they're easily exploitable. Another bug I came across is the notorious, and it happens on I think almost every private server I've played on. I think it's a terrain distance thing, is what I've been told. But you'll get this, you're going to see it here in a second, that long 5-second freeze of what just happened to my computer hard lock. I don't know what does it, but it's incredibly annoying. I really wish one of these servers, maybe Corecraft when it comes out in 2023, will actually get it right if it ever comes out. But I mean, you know, minor complaint there. If that's the worst thing that happens, I guess I can live with it. Another, the line of sight issues kind of become an issue. You'll see an example of that here in a bit. I'll point it out, but line of sight's kind of crappy. You'll some of the mobs you have to literally go stand on top of. But one nice thing I have noticed is you don't get the bug where you get stuck in combat and you literally have to go die because you can't get out of combat. And that's frustrating. I remember that happened to me on another server, and I was like, wow, this is pretty terrible. You don't seem to have that problem here. I think I've had it happen once, but that was like something else happened. The server crashed while we were in a dungeon, and we all just kind of died. Leveling rate is a 1x, 2x server, but they do something cool in addition to the being able to pick up gold for voting. If enough people vote, and they place pretty high on some of the game review sites, they actually will go through and do basically a double experience week. Now, how that's going to work is for every set that they place on, they throw a couple days of double experience, but it goes beyond that too. It like rep items, you get an increased drop for that. Badge of Justice, normally typically you kill a boss, you get 1. You're going to get 2 for that week that that's on. So it's really nice because it gives people that, maybe don't play that often more of an incentive to get on. Player numbers on the server are, like I said again, you can do the cross-faction questing, so it's not a huge deal. Typically, it's about 5 to maybe 800 players on. During the double rep, double experience weeks or weekend, whatever it turns out to be, you typically spike up to about 1,200 players. So that's typically a time where everybody goes and runs heroics and all that stuff. So it's kind of nice to have a lot of people to run with on that. It's another nice little perk. The last couple items before we get on to the bad and the ugly about the server. People are pretty social on it, and people actually do dungeons. I mean, that's what's nice. I got into a pretty cool guild pretty early on, and I actually got to go run Dead Mines at level 17. I ran Scarlet Monastery too a couple times, and I mean, that's really nice because that's one problem you have on the 14x experience rates. People just want to blast through, get into dungeons, walk in and graze, and then get pissed at everybody else for not being able to carry them. So it's kind of nice that you can actually get in and get some gears, especially at those low levels, and the gear's not instantly replaced. So it's definitely a nice addition. Okay, now onto the cons. Loot Reservation. When I first started playing on this one a few months ago, it wasn't too bad. Typically, it's still not. People kind of laugh people that reserve loot out of here. I've seen some servers. I played on a different server, which I plan on doing a review about that one too. The problem that you ran into there was full green rogue, and he was doing a Gruul's lair, organizing it and everything, and you know for a fact he's in full greens. I mean, I don't have a problem if it's a guild and they're doing it to get that one last piece of gear for a guildie or something like that. Loot Reservation didn't really bother me, but it has definitely become more and more of a problem. I've noticed that now people are starting to think that it's okay to reserve anything that they want, and like I said, the other server I played on, you could go to Kara and maybe 1 or 2 items wouldn't be reserved. It was like, is it an upgrade? Yep. Is it for me and my class? Yep. Well, it's reserved. Good luck. The rewires are pretty bad on this server also. I kind of touched on that earlier, but I want to touch on it a little more. You have a few of them that if an epic hits the auction house, they're going to buy it. I mean, they'll buy it for 1,200 gold, put it back in there for 5,000 gold. It's not worth 5,000 gold, but if they buy every epic that hits the auction house, sooner or later somebody's going to go, you know what, screw it, and just buy it anyways. Which kind of brings me into my next problem, is actually getting gear. Now, I've kind of noticed this, and it extends actually beyond the private servers, but it's becoming a big problem in MMOs. I don't know if it's maybe the Wrath baby mentality or what it is, because I remember it kind of started in Wrath where 5k gear score became acceptable to run a 4k instance. In other words, you had to be in full Ulduar gear just to go run Nax, and it's like, wait, what? There's no upgrades for me at that point. Why the heck would I even run that? That kind of has started to do it too. An example, I leveled a tank, and I got him up to about 13,000 health, which is more than good enough to main tank Kara would have been in retail. That's a tank that I would have taken into my guilds. And I was basically bitched out the entire time that I was under geared. The DPS refused to hold back. The healer could barely keep me up. Was telling me I was a bad tank. So I went and inspected him out of curiosity. This guy's wearing the blue PvP set. Now, I don't know if you remember, but you could buy a blue PvP set right from the rep vendors. It's really easy to get honored, bam, easy blue. But the problem with that is it only has 29 bonus healing per piece. So this guy had 800 bonus healing, and he was bitching at me that he couldn't keep me up. It's like, well, no wonder, dude. It doesn't help when the DPS is taking damage every pull. There are a lot of bad players, and I think it extends beyond the server. It's even more difficult when you have a language barrier. Everybody does speak English, but it is still a Euro server. The last couple problems I've had with the server, and I know this is going to sound weird because I just said it's kind of hard to get gear as soon as you hit level 70, but for some reason they decided to kind of glitch it. I don't know if they decided to keep it this way or they couldn't fix it or what happened, but you get badges from level 60 raids. So it's not uncommon for 10 or 12 people to go run Zul'Gurub and AQ20 in these instances, and you can blow through them really quick, and you get 2 badges per boss. So you can get like 15, 20 badges per run per week. So you can literally never set foot into a heroic and get all this good gear, and then you get into these raids and stuff, and you have no idea what you're doing. You totally suck at your class. And that did happen to me. I got to a point where I started noticing that a lot of these people, no gems, no enchants, but hey, they got full freaking epics. Well, where the heck did you get those? Oh, it's all badge gear. So you literally logged in during the double badge weekend, went and blasted through those raids, got 4 badges per boss, unfortunately, and just basically took home the bank. It's like, no, that's not really right. I mean, player skill is something that needs to be developed. I've taken my priest into heroics and healed very easy, and then I have priests that can't even keep my tank up. Donating for gear is kind of also a problem on this server that I've come across. It's not huge, but it is an issue. But the other thing about Excalibur...
The sword of power, Excalibur.
Dang it, did it again. Anyways, I gotta stop saying that word. The only other complaint that I have about this server is the amount of trolls. It's out of control. Picture in retail. You probably had 1 or 2 trolls on your server. Now, picture every troll that you've ever met suddenly congregating on one server. That's the only downside of Excalibur that I've really come across. The bugs and stuff, you know, it's a free server. Who cares? Whatever. Get over it. But yeah, the trolls are absolutely out of control. If you join World Chat, you are going to basically be talked shit to. If you try to help people out, you are basically going to be talked down on. It's pretty bad. There's just no other way to say it. Not everybody's a jerk. There's a lot of nice people too, but the trolls definitely do take a lot out of this game. Outside of that, if you want the nostalgia feeling, you want to level, quest, do some dungeons, do some raids, kill some horde, kill some alliance, whatever your preference is, this is not a bad server for you. I think you'll really enjoy it. Anyways, this is Alpha Gamer signing off. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. Do us a favor, subscribe, like, share, thumbs up, whatever you're going to do, talk and chat. Just be nice to one another. Have a good night.